We submitted public records requests to dozens of police departments in the Commonwealth to see how many hours of overtime the officers in your city have been working. Mark and Vanessa have been going store to store trying to find that 80-inch TV that you guys wanted. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in and out in the last hour, but that's a fair warning for anyone coming out here doing any of that holiday shopping. With the sexual assault allegations, Kevin Spacey hasn't posted much, but when he does, especially videos like this, where you can literally see him stoking the flames, well, these videos quickly become trending topics all over social media. We're hearing about another shooting here in Braintree. We're across the street from South Shore Mall right now. You can see the entire intersection is blocked off. Police are asking people to stay away from the area. She is inside the mall right now in the Sephora, correct? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Can you just tell me what things look like around you? We checked in with a couple different towns, and although we haven't heard any reports of anyone dying from this mistake, in the last couple days we have heard of people losing their fingers. Why? Well, they're sticking their hands either in front of these snowblowers or down the chute. I want to break down those numbers for you. Here at Haverhill PD, there are 89 officers on staff right now, but they have to cover 109 positions. You worried with guys working 80, 90-hour weeks, carrying a gun, driving behind the wheel?
Huge concern. You can only stretch those officers for so long.
Since many of you will be traveling this holiday season, we thought it'd be a good time to remind you of the dangers of juice jacking. No, not that type of juice. We're talking about protecting your phone. I spent the evening speaking with high-ranking officials from several different departments on how they're going to enforce the law. They said they have 90 days to figure it out, but it's pretty simple. If your hands are here and not here, and if your phone is here and not there, well, you might just get pulled over. The ABC News debate just wrapped up moments ago and the crowds began to disperse, but the last 3 hours were very tense. These 7 candidates on your screen, they knew that tonight was likely their last opportunity to really galvanize their base. The signs have already been put up here at South Station. There's one, here's another one, there's a third one over here. But here's what's interesting. There's almost as many signs as there are people. It's Friday evening, right around rush hour, and as you can see, this place is empty. Crowds here just saying happy birthday to Breonna Taylor, who would have been 27. If you take a look at the crowd, very, very diverse group of people. You know Lawrence has a strong Hispanic population. There's a lot of people from different ethnicities, different races here, all ages, kids and older. I do want to introduce you to my friend Grace, who is a nursing student here from Kenya. Is that correct? Talk to me a little bit about just some of the emotions you're feeling right now.
I'm devastated. I'm angry.
Just as most people predicted, the votes mainly down party lines as the Democratic-led House voted for impeachment. But will that partisan support continue when the Republican-led Senate votes on whether or not to remove President Trump from office? How much harm does this impeachment do to his legacy?
I think it does or should do irreparable harm.
And Whalen says several Republicans would have to agree to that motion for a private vote, but admits that is a long shot scenario. As of right now, the path for a bipartisan agreement is in limbo as Congress breaks for the holidays. The two sides are expected to continue to work over the holidays. First and foremost, our hearts go out to all the families, immediate families involved who are left to pick up the pieces for this, but it has to be said, it is very important to mention there were 8 EMTs, 4 paramedics, 2 supervisors, and 1 member of the special operations team who responded to this tragedy. Their phone lines are open for anyone who needs to talk. They told me they've even gotten phone calls from parents who just say, how do I talk to my children about stuff like this? So it really does run the gamut. The bottom line here is there is help available.
And it's so sad on Christmas Day. Wale Aliyu, thank you so much.
Police say even when he wasn't wearing the ski mask, he was still trying to disguise himself. Police say when they chased him out of this convenience store yesterday, his mask fell off and he was sporting a rather large afro. Then police say when they arrested him at his home in Chelsea this morning, he had shaved his head. Even his mom telling us in our exclusive interview that the videos that you're about to see make him look different than the man she's used to seeing. For the last month, police say they've been looking for their red-handed bandit, accused of robbing 13 convenience stores, most of the time while wearing these red gloves. This clerk says he wasn't taking any chances.
And he tried to open the register, but he can't open one. And after he told me the knife is almost to my head, and he said, you try to open one, and I just opened him, and he took the money and he left.
Sources believe they found their man, 34-year-old Ramfis Casado.
He's the son that texts me every night, say, Mom, I love you.
Wanting to stay anonymous, Casado's mom says she didn't get that text today. She was heartbroken when we told her why.
This is very sad. This is very sad. It's the holidays around the corner, you know, and this is not what the family wanted to hear.
Malden police say they caught the red-handed bandit red-handed when an officer went into the store to use the bathroom Monday, just as Casado finished robbing it.
Stopped for a minute, again, took a step back, and he took off running down the street away from me.
Casado drove away before Officer Watkins could catch up to him, but several common descriptions led police to Casado's home in Chelsea. They arrested him Tuesday without a fight.
If he ever did anything wrong to me, you know, he would call the next day, Mom, I'm sorry. Mom, I love you. Mom, I'm in church. Mom, I'm with the pastor. Mom, the pastor is praying for me. I'm gonna do things better.
While Mom says she's in shock, police and the clerks are happy he's off the street.
I'm happy.
He's happy because he lost about $1,000. Police say those totals only increased with the multitude of other stores. Now, again, police have not linked Casado to the other 12 incidents, but sources telling me it's only a matter of time. So we asked Mom if she'd ever seen any of this coming. She said no, but he did have some mental health issues in the past. For now, that's the very latest live in Malden tonight. Wale Aliyu, Boston 25 News.
$233,000 in Weymouth, $331,000 in Malden, and almost $399,000 in Boston. That's how much money certain local police officers made last year. In many cases, it's more than their police chief or city manager.
Departments often blame overtime for those inflated salaries. 25 Investigates is digging into why those extra hours are piling up. As Wale Aliyu explains, some of the overtime shifts are not by choice. Wale?
We submitted public records requests to dozens of police departments in the Commonwealth to see how many hours of overtime the officers in your city have been working. We've been sorting through hundreds of documents and found in some weeks police had to work an extra 40 to 50 overtime hours, partly because there just aren't enough officers to go around, and police tell us the problem is only getting worse.
If you're a police officer, good luck punching in a 40-hour work week. In Boston, we found several officers who made well over 6 figures in overtime alone last year. Several Brookline officers averaged almost 80 hours per week. In Woburn, overtime gave some officers nearly triple their base pay. So how did the OT hours get so high? Police tell us the answer lies partly in public backlash against law enforcement. National cases like Alton Sterling, Tamir Rice,
Put your hands up, show me your hands.
or most recently, Tatiana Jefferson, adding to the rift between community and police, and subtracting from the pool of would-be officers responding to your calls.
Everybody's always filming, and police officers are always in the spotlight. So I think that kind of deters people from applying.
All right, Tony.
And undeterred, Angela Viles walked into the Haverhill's chief's office in October to interview for a position the chief needs
We're very desperate
to fill.
It literally keeps me awake at night. If I've got officers working 70, 80 hours a week, I don't want somebody at 4 o'clock in the morning doing one of these and hitting a tree or another car or something else. It's very frightening for me that our officers have to work this amount of hours to get the job done.
I want to break down those numbers for you. Here at Haverhill PD, there are 89 officers on staff right now, but they have to cover 109 positions, plus detail shifts. So the hours pile up trying to protect the city 24/7.
You don't want to lower your standards. You know, we don't want to bring an officer in and in 2 or 3 years, he says, no, this isn't for me, which we do see. Officers come in, they do 3, 4, 5 years, and they say, no, I'm going to do something else now. That's devastating. The hours, the hundreds of hours in training we put in these officers.
According to Police Executive Research Forum, 69% of voluntary resignations nationwide happen in the first 5 years. Chief DeNaro blames the number of mental health and substance abuse calls overwhelming some new officers. Work-life balance, another concern.
Older officers are more interested in working as much as they could and making as much as they can financially. The newer officers are more interested in how much time they can have off.
It drives up the overtime, and a lot of that is forced overtime.
Lynn's police department sees the same issues. Resignations and retirements have left them with 25 unfilled positions. So are you worried with guys working 80, 90-hour weeks, carrying a gun, driving behind the wheel? How much of a concern is that?
Huge concern. You can only stretch those officers for so long before it becomes a burden. Like you said, the family life gets affected drastically, and fatigue is certainly an issue when you're working multiple doubles in a row.
And police say those fatigued officers who are constantly being watched sometimes fear making a life-changing decision.
Put your hands up, show me your hands.
And end up leaving the force with no one to take their place.
When I took the exam, there were several thousand people that were on the list to become Quincy police officers, and now it's down to about 140.
Why do you still want to do it?
I just want to help my community. You know what I'm saying? I think of it as the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? Just wanting to give back.
And we've put together a map on Boston25news.com so you can click on your city and see the average hours officers work and how much it's costing you, the taxpayer.
Really is eye-opening. Wale, you found out that all this overtime is actually having an effect on public safety.
Absolutely. Listen, from slower reaction times to morale, coming up tonight at 10, we show you the effect all this overtime is having on our local police. That's tonight at 10.